Welcome to Turf Talk, Hong Kong International Races Edition. We're from Shot 10 Racecourse. I'm Vance, and I'm joined by Andrew Hawkins of the Hong Kong Jockey Club. And Andrew, Wednesday night at the International Jockeys Championship at Happy Valley, you said to me that you are a follower and a frequent fan of Turf Talk, and with that in mind, it's a distinct pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It is very exciting to be here. As I said to you, one of the videos recently, your discussion with Ed about Arrogant and California Chrome for Horse of the Year was one of the videos that we were watching quite a bit of. So it feels great to be here in place of Ed. Unfortunately, I'm not quite Ed, but we can try.
Well, we're going to really try here. Of course, we got 4 major Group 1 races tomorrow, Sunday, here at Shot 10. And Andrew, you're more of a veteran of this than me. This is my first trip down here. You've seen this event many, many times. What are some of the things that you look for from both international participants and local participants coming into these 4 major Group 1 races? And with that in mind, what have you seen positive from certain horses, and what have you seen negative from certain horses?
It's interesting because you're looking for different things from internationals and from locals. With the internationals, for many of them, it's the end of long campaigns and long seasons. So you're looking for horses that are fresh, that are well, that are coming into this at their peak. And a lot of horses in Hong Kong, when they make the trip at the end of the year, they're not ready to perform. They're over the top, or they're simply not ready. So it's an awkward time for much of the world. But then for Hong Kong, it's right in the middle of our season. Our season begins in September, and everyone is building up towards the December International. So with the local horses, most of them have been looking fantastic in the mornings, as you'd expect, because this is their peak. Whereas for the others, with the internationals, you're looking for horses that are still holding their form and holding their conditions. So it can be a bit interesting trying to identify between them.
So, from all the action and all the horses that you've seen this week, who stands out positively and negatively?
For me, Highland Reel has been very much a standout. You would think, given the long season that he's had, he's travelled all around the world. Obviously, he's gone to Dubai. He's come here before twice in the last 12 months. He's gone back home. He's travelled to the United States, and yet he's just holding his form, and he's looking very, very fresh in the mornings. You wouldn't think that he's been travelling all around the world in the last 12 months. So that's a very big positive. You look at some of the Japanese who have come across, and a horse like Asian Hikari, who doesn't tend to settle in well. He went to Europe, and he really wasn't settled in. When he went to Ascot, he was a bit timid, and then he came here, at his last start in Japan. He was over the top crazy. So you're looking for some sort of balance between the two, and he struck it this week. So again, that's a positive. If you look at the negatives for the locals, for the internationals, you look at horses like Pure Sensation hasn't unfortunately got to work a couple of times this week.
Yeah.
Has been lame and is suffering a couple of foot issues. And One Foot in Heaven from France, who was considered to be probably the best European Vars hope outside of Highland Reel. He's had a number of issues, and he's looking over the top in the morning. So again, positives and negatives.
Yeah. Well, as we go through the list of the 4 races, I've kind of centered in on 2 favorites. Highland Reel, of course, looks to me like a key in the Hong Kong Vase, and I'm also been a big fan of Morris, the reigning Japanese Horse of the Year in the Hong Kong Cup. Ashin Hikari obviously loves this track. He won this race last year. He's going to try and win it the same way this year, but for me, his recent form is a bit of a turn-off for me. I'm leaning towards Morris, who's made an impeccable impression this week.
See, I think the races are definitely between Morris and Asian Hikari, and it depends on what you want to take. But for me, I'm all about Asian Hikari here. The way that he gets his races run, he gets out in front, he sets a steady tempo, a solid tempo, but not going particularly fast. And then he's able to kick off that into the straight, and it's very hard for horses chasing to catch him. Obviously, it depends if he's at his best. But if he is anywhere near his best, it's going to be very tough for Morris to run him down, especially given Morris is still some sort of a concern at 2,000 metres or 10 furlongs. So it's going to be a great race, but no, for me, all Asian Hikari.
Yeah. Turning to the more competitive races, the sprint and the mile. The sprint, I think, is another one that could be prone to being won by a Japanese invader. I really like Big Arthur. He was a bit headstrong in his work this morning, Saturday morning here, but it looks like he's full of energy, and he's coming off a trouble trip in the Sprinter Stakes in Japan, and but he was a big Group 1 winner in the spring, and I think he is probably the horse to beat here. What do you think?
Sadly, I have to agree. I was hoping to find something to disagree with you about, but look, he's been a very good horse this year. Won the probably the most weird race name in the world, the Takamatsu no Maya Kinnan.
I'm glad you can pronounce that. I can't.
It's taken a lot of practice, a lot of times being able to say it and making mistakes before finally getting it right. But it's the Takamatsu no Maya Kinnan. He won that in March, and as you say, the trouble trip in the Sprinter Stakes. That said, though, the Hong Kong sprinters are very strong. I think a lot of people underestimate Hong Kong sprinters, but you only need to look at somewhere like Dubai, where our horses have managed to run well on both turf and dirt. There's a lot of depth to other Hong Kong sprinters, and there's a couple of really nice horses at the moment. Lucky Bubbles is emerging, Amazing Kids is emerging, and then you've got the proven brigade like Peniophobia and Air Velocity. Now, if they can perform to their best, Big Arthur's going to have to be very, very good to beat him. But to beat him, yeah.
Yeah, Lucky Bubbles to me is definitely the top local prospect in that race, and his form, like you said, is spot on. In the mile, I'm going with a bit of a longer shot. I'm sticking with Japan, Logo Type, who defeated Morris a couple of races back in the spring. He came back and ran not so well at longer distances, but I think a mile is going to suit him a lot better. He drew an inside barrier. He's going to try and go wire to wire. I'm not, 100% sold on him in this particular spot. It's a really tough race, but he's kind of my long shot pick.
The Japanese are very hard to work out. They're very, very hard to work out in the mile division, because you look at Satono Aladdin, who probably should have won the race at the mile championship the other day, and you look at Neorealism, who looks like who ran third in that race, but looks like he probably wants further. Beat Morris over 2,000 meters in August. And so it's a very tough race to figure out where the Japanese are at. Look, I'm personally sticking with an old favourite, Naval Friend. I really hope he returns to form. He's beastly on his day. He's this giant, hulking chestnut, very reminiscent of Dortmund over in California, and he just moves through his motions. It's poetry in motion to watch. Now he's a run behind, but if he comes out and does what he can put on a real good show. So I'm really hoping it's Able Friends winning for Hong Kong.
Yeah, he he had the one prep race coming off the tendon injury. It was at a distance much shorter than expected. So I expect him to run really well. It's just a matter, for me, it's just a matter of it'll be one prep race too short, possibly. But he's got a legitimate shot for sure.
That's the query, whether he's one run too short, and he probably is, but it depends how good he needs to be able to beat this field. And to be fair, he was under an injury cloud last year and still managed to run third to Morris. So if he can repeat that, he's right in the mix.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, you and Pat Cummings have been excellent hosts to me all week long, even after my travel troubles getting here, which we don't need to get back into again. But I've had a really wonderful experience here in Hong Kong. Looking forward to the races tomorrow. It's been first-class hospitality all the way, and I thank you very much for being here on Turf Talk and for everything you've done this week.
I'm really glad you've enjoyed it, because it is a great meeting, and I know that that you've been putting out some great work. So I'm really very grateful to have you here.
I appreciate that, and join us at twinspires.com for all the Hong Kong action. First post is Saturday night at 11:35 Eastern, 8:35 Pacific. Follow at Twinspires on Twitter for my latest blog work, pictures, videos, and also my personal Twitter feed at VP Hansen. Also, Kelly Riley, our international expert back in the United States, has lots of great opinions. She's blogging on brissnet.com, the new revamped brissnet.com. You can find her at GallonFox30 on Twitter, and also at brissnet. So from here, for Andrew and myself, thank you. Enjoy the Hong Kong International races, and we'll see you next time on Turf Talk.